Kyle Busch, two-time Cup Series champion, the most prolific winner in NASCAR history across all three national series, died at 41 years old after being hospitalized with what his family described only as a severe illness. No warning, no farewell lap, just gone. And 3 days before the Coca-Cola 600, Kyle Busch died Thursday, May 21st. He was 41. The cause of death has not been disclosed. His family, Richard Childress Racing, and NASCAR released a joint statement confirming the news. Just hours before the announcement, RCR had already named Austin Hill as his replacement for the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Hill will remain in the number 8 car for the foreseeable future. Busch leaves behind his wife Samantha and their 2 children, Brexton and Lennox. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to understand who Kyle Busch was to this sport. The man won 234 races across NASCAR's 3 national series. That is not a typo. 234, more than any driver in the history of the sport. 63 Cup wins, 102 in what is now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, 69 in the Truck Series. He won championships in 2015 and 2019, both with Joe Gibbs Racing. He moved to Richard Childress Racing in 2023, picked up 3 wins in his first season, and had been winless since, but nobody was writing him off. He was still competing, still hungry, and there were signs something was wrong. During the Cup race at Watkins Glen on May 10th, Busch radioed his crew asking for medical assistance from the team doctor. That detail in hindsight cuts deep. This is also not the first gut punch NASCAR has taken recently. Last December, former driver Greg Biffle, his wife, and several others were killed in a plane crash in North Carolina. The sport has been through a brutal stretch, but losing Kyle Busch at 41 mid-season with no warning is a different kind of blow. This one hits the garage, the grandstands, and living rooms across the country all at once. Now let's talk about what happens next, because that conversation is already happening whether we are ready for it or not. Austin Hill steps into the number 8 car. Let's be clear about what that means. Hill is a capable driver. He won the 2023 Xfinity Series regular season title. He has hardware in the lower series, but he has 17 career Cup starts and 1 top 10 finish to his name. He is not Kyle Busch. Nobody in that garage is Kyle Busch. This is not a criticism of Hill. This is a reality check for Richard Childress Racing. They are a storied organization, the team that Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Kevin Harvick all raced for at various points. But right now they are facing a season-defining void with no clean answer. The bigger strategic question is this: does RCR use the rest of 2026 as an evaluation period for Hill, or do they make a serious run at an established name before next season? Because the number 8 seat, once driven by one of the greatest ever, cannot be treated as a stopgap forever. That car carries legacy. It carries expectation. And there is another layer here. Kyle Busch was polarizing. He was nicknamed Rowdy for a reason. He feuded with drivers. He was outspoken. Fans either loved him or loved to hate him, but both sides respected the talent. Both sides are grieving right now in their own way. And that unified reaction tells you everything about the size of the void he leaves behind. William Byron called Busch the best mentor he ever had. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said nobody could deny he was one of the greatest in NASCAR history. Brad Keselowski described it as absolute shock. These are competitors. These are men who raced against him and sometimes clashed with him. And they are broken by this. That is legacy. Social media lit up within minutes of the announcement. The phrase Rowdy Nation, the loyal fan base Kyle built over 2 decades, trended immediately. Tributes poured in from every corner of motorsports. Charlotte Motor Speedway CEO Marcus Smith called him a once-in-a-generation competitor. NASCAR itself called him one of the sport's greatest and fiercest drivers. Joe Gibbs Racing, the team where he spent the peak of his career, released a statement calling him a fierce competitor and a devoted husband, father, and son. The Coca-Cola 600 this Sunday will carry a different weight now. Every lap around Charlotte will be a tribute whether NASCAR formally makes it one or not. 2 roads from here. Best case, Austin Hill uses this moment as a career-defining opportunity. He earns the respect of the RCR crew, puts together a strong second half of the season, and gives Richard Childress Racing a legitimate internal answer for 2027. The number 8 car becomes a story of resilience and transition rather than a symbol of loss. Hill earns that seat on merit. Worst case, RCR struggles to find stability. Hill underperforms under the weight of an impossible situation, and the franchise spends the next 18 months in roster uncertainty. The number 8 car cycles through drivers. the legacy of that number gets diluted, and a team with championship history gets further from the front of the pack at exactly the wrong time. There is no guarantee of either. But the next 6 weeks will tell us a great deal about where that organization is headed. Kyle Busch spent over 2 decades on the track proving that talent, intensity, and an absolute refusal to be ordinary could make you the best in the room. He was not always likable. He was not always diplomatic, but he was always undeniably great. 234 wins, 2 championships, a family that loved him, a sport that will not forget him. Now the question falls on the rest of the NASCAR world. And at a 32-year-old from Winston, Georgia, who just got the most difficult opportunity of his career, how does Richard Childress Racing honor that legacy going forward? And is Austin Hill the answer, or just a placeholder in a seat that may never truly be filled? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This conversation is just getting started. And if you want more coverage like this as the story develops, make sure you are subscribed to SportsWire USA.